All right.
All right. Oh, we are back. We are back once again with the CEA Corporate Esports Association. Now it's the Collegiate Esports Association. Ah, very cheeky. And I am joined once again by Bamwolf. How you doing, Bamwolf? Bamwolf, you just had a neat little revelation.
Well, actually, Steadfast, sorry to burst your bubble here. It was a revelation from like a couple weeks ago, but still kind of cool. So, we talked about the CEA as this fantastic opportunity for networking and, well, also inter-team development, people having fun, knowing each other better, team building, all those things. But I found out that the man that runs the Red Hat Rocket League team, I forget what he goes by online, but anyway, the man that runs the Red Hat Rocket League team happened to be my the team captain of my robotics team when I was a sophomore. Or no, I was a freshman. He was a senior back in high school. Then we went our separate ways. And I hadn't talked to him for a couple of years. Then I just noticed, I'm like, wait, his picture looks familiar. I think I've seen that on Facebook, in Discord. And it turns out, yeah, no, it's him. He's down in a different place in the country. He's no longer in Virginia anymore, but he runs the Red Hat Rocket League team. And you know, small world things. This is exactly what the CEA can bring together to people who haven't talked to each other in probably 5-6 years at this point. Power of video games.
The power of video games bringing people together. I mean, bit of a meme, but like absolutely true. Like, especially during COVID, it has been really hard to connect with people. So this has been one of those scenarios where having something like a community team to play with, to coordinate with, to hang out with has been really, really nice. Like, it has been a huge boon to a lot of people. And yeah, it's just awesome that we get to see that, especially on the corporate side. That is a very, very common thing. On the collegiate side, of course, they are, you know, going to the same university, but in a lot of cases, you have a situation where teams are sometimes, you know, commuting from home, like telecommuting, I guess. They're not actually physically there, so it's really nice when you can still have that way to connect with one another. And Starcraft 2 is, of course, the greatest game ever made, so it, you know, makes sense that we're able to get that. And it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. And well, our first map is going to be a map that, technically speaking, no longer exists because, you know, once it's not in the ladder pool, it's just gone forever. It was never around. It is going to be everyone's favorite map, the one we never see, which kind of makes it a neat little map. It's Submarine.
You know, Steadfast, I am very happy, in fact, that this game, or excuse me, that this map is gone, that we can pretend that it never existed. Because, well, I play Zerg, and I know you're going to say Oxide's marginally better, but, or marginally worse, but I think the one way we look at this is a pretty easy one. Submarine got banned out literally every series that wasn't a best of 7, especially when the Zerg was playing. Oxide was allowed through. So yeah, Oxide is not a great map, but Submarine was just so bad that got banned out probably 95% of the time. So I'm glad it's gone, but of course we do have one more week of things. I don't know whether the CEA will move on to the new ladder pool. Well, we'll base their things off of the new ladder pool yet, or when that happens, but for the moment, well, that's what we got. And yeah, it's going to be a Submarine. I'm a little bit disappointed, of course. Map 2 in the CEA traditionally has been a funky map. Yeah, there we go. Anyway, yeah. So traditionally, the map 2 has been a fun map, has been a more interesting map there as the primary option, but it has been banned out. It's been swapped out literally every time it's been available for the last, I don't even know how long. Ever since that's been a thing.
Ever since it's been added, yeah.
No, I think we had it once, and then no one used any, and then it was just a like a 12 pool or something.
Oh yeah, or like a 12 pool or like a cannon rush or something. Actually, we've had a hilarious number of cannon rushes on brand new maps, like, and it wasn't just that, like, they were really good cannon rush spots. Yeah, I mean, obviously, anytime a map is new, cheese is like high priority, but it was just really funny that it was like, all right, new map, boom, cannon rush, game's over in 2 minutes. Literally the fastest CEA map I think we'd had. And then another one, and it was like, oh, new map, like I think it's, was it 2,000 atmospheres? It's one of the ones that's new to the ladder right now. But yeah, once again, cannon rush, boom, game's over. It's like, all right, well, I was looking forward to exploring these maps, but here we are. And speaking of here we are, we are getting into game number 1. Why don't you intro our first player down in the bottom right?
All right, here we are, spawning in the bottom right. In the green, of course, representing the Weenie Hut Jr. Starcraft team from George Mason University. Give it up for Janitor Bob.
Looking to clean up the competition. And his opponent, spawning up in the top left, representing the Utah Valley University. It is Sojourn. Will he be able to... Oh, man, I don't... Is a Sojourn a travel? Is it a trip?
It's a journey.
It's a journey, yeah. I was going to say, will he be able to, travel to a victory? I didn't really have a great setup there.
Actually, apparently that's not true. By the way, I just looked it up. It is actually a temporary stay. So when someone talks about their sojourn in Rome, for example, it's their temporary stay in Rome.
That makes sense. Journ being, of course, the root of journey. That makes sense. Temporary journey. Cool. By the way, the UVU has, I think, the coolest name in the CEA in terms of their, at least on the corporate side or collegiate side, in my opinion. They are the Riders of Brohan, which is just an awesome name. I just really enjoy that.
Riders of the Storm, maybe. Well, we're going to have to see whether they can ride out the storm of a standard macro game. As, well, there would have been a great parallel there with random things. I'm saying if, Janitor Bob had gone for some sort of early pool shenanigans. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we have a ZVZ where one player has not decided to end the game before 5 minutes. Now, it may end by 6. Don't get me wrong. But at the moment here, we've hit these fantastic breakpoints. We've hit the first couple. We had a hatch before a pool. We have a 16, 18, 17 there. So, of course, Steadfast, we're looking for a couple things. In this game, we're trying to figure out what these players are going for. Do they pull out a gas on 100 gas? Do they take a 28-odd third base, or do they go anything before or later? Actually, yeah, there we go. So it's going to be 20-ish, 26, 28 third base there for Sojourn. Actually, it's down 26. That's a little bit fast, but no big deal there. And third question, Steadfast, is do we see more drones at 27, the 27 worker mark, or do we see tons and tons of Zerglings? And it looks like actually Sojourn not even stopping there at the 27 mark. He said, look, okay, it's time to get aggressive a little bit faster here. Although, as I say, that looks like a couple more drones are on the way.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a Ling Flood to cover no Baneling Nest out of Sojourn, but I don't know. This is a pretty fast Baneling Nest out of Janitor Bob, and Sojourn, yeah, he's droning up, so he's actually in a little bit of trouble right here. He doesn't have a Baneling Nest of his own. Oh, as I say that, I think I just saw 50 gas disappear, and yep, there is the Bane Nest. We'll create a nice little alcove for this queen, but Janitor Bob delays his third hatchery a lot to get a much, much faster Baneling Nest, and this is going to be a little bit of trouble if we see some Banelings morph in very shortly.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, speed finishing at that 3:30 mark for both players in here. This is not a TVZ, or it's not a ZVT. This is not a matchup that you can realistically delay speed by 30 seconds and expect to be happy. Is now Janitor Bob with a couple more Zerglings. Actually, he's going to find a good trade here on Zerglings. No, looks like Sojourn paying attention on anything, but that's a vulnerable queen maybe, but actually no, they're just going to dive on into the main base. And you know what? Any queen you can knock down this early on the game, that is a fantastic trade there. And then, well, no, they're going to get a second queen. That is really good. Now, actually, no, they're going to be forced to back up. Nice drone pull. We'll keep that away. But any queen that you can knock down this early on, that is less injects, and that is such a big deal when you're talking about equal production here. Now, Sojourn, maybe he's not going to be hurt by that quite as much as he would be in other scenarios, because he does have a third base ahead of his opponent, and in doing so, he does have an additional 2 larvae a minute, irrespective of, queen injects. So he will have slightly more production there. Sorry, not per minute, per cycle, but anyways, slightly more production there. But now Sojourn, it's his turn to get a little bit aggressive here. Now he will be able to find these Banelings as they're morphing on in, but not going to be in enough time to actually dive on top of them. So now we get the fancy knife fight in the dark, blindfolded in a phone booth. As actually really nice Baneling connections to start things off. But of course now it's 4 Banelings against none, and they're doing a really good job of zoning Janitor Bob off of this third base.
Yeah, and that third hatcher is going to go down, and that's a disaster in ZVZ. The Baneling hits were nice, but there wasn't anything left over to deal with the Banelings of Sojourn. And now Sojourn is not only ahead 5 drones, but ahead an entire base with a layer. Oh! Oof. Oh, still pretty big hit, but not as bad as it could have been. But yeah, up a full base, up several drones, keeping the pressure on. Oh, does have to be very careful. Oh, the Baneling's going to get into the natural expansion. They are going to get... Oh, hello. Well, 3 drones, a little bit underwhelming, but still great damage.
Honestly, if Sojourn wasn't up 11 workers just as a result of the macro here, I'd say that probably wasn't enough. That's a rather expensive. He lost all of his Zerglings, lost all of his Banelings on that trade. But we got to remember here, Sojourn behind this, he already did damage. He has his third base on the way up. He is up on workers. Now the question is whether he will be able to withstand the ensuing Roach Bane attack. Because, well, it's one of those things when you spend a lot to get some damage done. Nice Baneling connection there. When you spend a lot to get something done and then you drone up behind it, well, you just by default don't have a lot. So now we do have, of course, Sojourn. It's his turn to get aggressed on here. And those Baneling connections are going to be nice, but they're not going to be perfect. And Baneling's going to go on in, but hey, Banelings don't do a ton of damage against morphing cocoons. One is going to, it's going to get up.
Oh. Huge connection right there. Oh man, Sojourn was looking in a really good spot, but just lost so many Zerglings. Is still up in drones, but that was a huge detonation. And when you play the game of clicking down Banelings that are morphing, sometimes you get burned. And in this case, it was a very severe acid burn.
Yep, sometimes you win, and sometimes you just immediately leave the game. That's how that happens here. Now, Janitor Bob only just now taking his third base behind this, and he does have just about a 9-10 army supply lead. A lot of roaches here on the map, so he's just going to continue on with the aggression here. And one thing we haven't really hit upon is the fact that Sojourn is a Masters player. He says he Masters 3 is about 4,500 odd MMR. Janitor Bob, at least per the sheet that I have, is closer to a Platinum level player, or a Diamond 2, sorry. So he certainly is looking to punch above his weight here, and I do like the approach that he's taken. He's trying to make the game crazy. He's trying to make the game chaotic. He's trying to force Sojourn into these uncomfortable situations, and then once again, these Baneling connections are going to be really nice. Now, these Banelings get on top of the roaches, and he will get decent connections here, but now it's just a bunch of roaches versus roaches. And what is this? It is 13 roaches to 7 with the Queen here on the defense. It looks like there's maybe just barely enough here, but with the roaches coming on back in. Actually, no. Janitor Bob looks like he's just going to have enough here, and with the Queen getting knocked on down, the hatchery's going to start to get low. Now, of course, he does have to fight the roaches. He cannot just fight the hatchery. He does need to take advantage of the army supply lead that he currently has, because he is down in workers, he is down in production. And the longer this goes, he's actually done in upgrades too. The longer this goes, the less likely it is for him to snowball. So with the roaches popping on out, suddenly it's not looking nearly as good for Janitor Bob as it looked for just that moment.
Yeah, and now it's roach speed versus no roach speed, and the roaches are going to get caught up against these rocks. That is a huge problem for Janitor Bob. Every roach that he cannot, well, if he can't win the fight, he just is going to get run down, basically. Now, this is a lot of roaches for Janitor Bob here, but it's not going to be enough, especially when you take into account that +1 attack, and I think that is probably going to be too much. Janitor Bob plays a fantastic game, really does punch above his weight, but ultimately, Sojourn takes it down.
Absolutely. Great game there from Janitor Bob. It really looked like he had some opportunities to take the game. I feel like if he just kind of continued on with that aggression, when he won and sniped one Queen and probably almost got a second, I feel like if he just kind of continued his aggression there, he probably could have snowballed things. But certainly opportunities to win after that, he really got close. But really what we saw is if you look kind of at the resources spent or the resources banked up at the bottom of the map, bottom of your screen, he just wasn't spending quite as cleanly as Sojourn was. So even if he did have those minor advantages that maybe could have turned major, the amount of bank that he was building just meant that it was a little bit difficult for him to really take advantage of those game state advantages that he had built for himself. And with that, well, Sojourn was able to get just enough damage, knock down the third base, maybe kill a couple workers, and I'm not even sure that that counted as damage with how much he lost, but get just enough there that he was able to snowball himself into an eventual Roach victory.
Yeah, it was a... I think with a little bit of refinement and, like you said, some tighter macro, we could see Janitor Bob hit Masters very soon. I would not be surprised by that at all, to be honest. Great performance from him. Sojourn did end up having the more, I guess, sound play overall. But that was close. That was not a clean, easy win, I would say.
Not at all. And, well, from here, the matches only get spicier. We have Dot Coaster, the captain of UVU. UVU? UVU. UVU. Playing against the captain of the Weenie Hut Junior Starcraft team. Full Heart, semi-pro player, actually, for Team Exxon as well. So it's going to be a little bit fancy. It's going to be a little bit dicey. And I, for one, am absolutely excited to see what's going to happen on in here. It's going to be a ZVP. It's going to be on Death Aura. Let's get into things. Wow. Eventually. I got to hit the start map button. I thought I did. We're going to get on into things in just a little bit of time, actually, because I don't know what I'm doing. That's what we've learned here today.
That's okay. Do any of us really? I mean, we're just stumbling through the dark right now. Like, let's be real. It's no one really knows what they're doing, if we're being technical about things. But these players, they just might. These are two pretty good players. And potentially, well, I would say Full Heart is definitely the ace for Weenie Hut Juniors. But potentially, Doc Coaster could be the ace for his team as well. I think they have a couple of options, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see as we get into game number 2 here. Spawning up in the top left position, representing the Utah Valley University Riders of Brohan. It is the Protoss player, Doc Coaster.
And his opponent in the bottom right in the blue, representing the Weenie Hut Junior Starcraft team at George Mason University and Team Exxon. Give it up for Full Heart.
He's hitting it with a 12 pool. He is coming in with something hot, something spicy, and he's going to look to take this one down very early. Doc Coaster, is that pylon a little bit too far forward? Is that going to mess up his... I don't think so, but that might make things a little bit complicated for him on this defense.
I think he's probably fine. And Steadfast, you say he's looking to end this early, but we don't have any gas here. Let's be real here. A 12 pool at this point in StarCraft's history. A 12 pool is a macro opener. And, yeah, so there we go. We will see the hatch on the way. It's just going to be 6 lings. Oh, well, actually 8 lings. We may see up to 12. The number, of course, it's like 8 to 12. And, oh, he will get that probe. Nice micro there. We'll be able to knock that down. So no follow-up scouts on in here. And, well, Full Heart is reacting appropriately. One of the nice things about Death Aura, one of the things that makes it so difficult to ever kill a Protoss player, ever, on this map, is it's only a 2-structure wall in the natural. So we will, of course, see the gate. Actually, it's going to be a double gate. It's not going to be gate cyber. But, of course, with the Zealot on out, getting Crota on out here, we're going to see a second Zealot rather soon. This should be totally fine. Of course, it does delay the Nexus a little bit, does delay the Cyber Core, but this is a dance that we've seen a number of times in the past. Zealot goes out, Zealot goes back, and he's just going to try to swipe away at these Zerglings as much as he can. But, of course, once the second Zealot gets on out here, it's going to be totally fine. So how many Zerglings were made? It was 10. So this is probably like the maximum amount of Zerglings that we will see get made here. But Zerglings actually are going to get a surround on in this, but no, he will be able to micro his way back. And that should be that. Oh, he's making 4 Zealots. Generally, you get some adepts with it. Oh, no, you don't actually, because the Cyber Core is not done. Now the Zealots are going to get surrounded, so this is actually a decent amount of damage. Both Zealots are going to go down. This was a big mistake out of Doc Coaster. His Cyber Core was about 15-20 seconds late. Oh no, he canceled the gateway and he lets the lings in after blocking it and mostly dealing with it. Now this isn't really a big deal, but this is damage that shouldn't have been done. Oh, Full Heart. Oh, there we go. Okay, I was gonna say, kill that probe, please. It literally was running to its death, and he almost didn't get it, but he does manage to get it. And it does deny a little bit of mining time here. Now, where'd that probe go for Doc Coaster? Okay, he just kind of sent it out on the side. Yeah, not building that Cyber Core actually really, really delayed him there. Interestingly, he elects to build no gateway units after the first 4 Zealots. Yeah, very bizarre. Very bizarre. Yeah, I think this is just a little bit of panic coming on in from Doc Coaster here. This is not what you're supposed to do. Now, of course, the Zergling will eventually die, but we have 0 ranged units on the map right now, so it's going to last a lot longer. But okay, nope, never mind. We'll continue to run. And this is the most annoying thing. Now, of course, when the Void Raid's out, So Zergling's dead, but this is one of the most annoying things that a Protoss can deal with at the moment. Because yes, a Zergling like, left to some devices can actually kill probes if you're not paying attention. And more than that, it's just a perennial scout. It's just gonna sit around, it's gonna give you your building is under attack notification that just serves to distract you even more, and it means that you can't get away with a lot of stuff. Now, Full Heart, he's going for the stats build here. Or excuse me, Dark Coaster's going for a variant of the stats build here in this game, where of course you go and you get a Twilight immediately after that Stargate. You drop a couple more additional gateways. You go for a Glaive all-in after the Stargate, because what do Zerg players do when they deal with the Stargate opener? More often than not, they're going to go and they're going to assume that you're going to be greedy. Right? That's what they're going to do. They're going to say, okay, well, it's time for me to drone. Maybe.
Oh no.
Oh, is this going to be? Oh no.
He's running away from the Void Ray, and he's gonna run right into this hidden pylon. Oh, will Full Heart? Oh, okay. He's gonna show that he sees it. He obviously wasn't paying attention. Now Will get seen, but he knows to look over there, and this is going to be a charge lot all in behind this.
Ooh, I actually really like this. This is something that we started to see with the Void Ray change. Now, granted, the timings are all screwed up because of how much damage he took with the 12 pool. But this is something we started to see more and more often. Or we started to see, I shouldn't say more and more often, we don't see it as much anymore. But we started to see a lot of back when the Void Ray change happened. Right? When the Void Rays were buffed back about 9 months ago, I think at this point almost. We saw a lot of Protoss players going in there saying, yeah, I'm going to go for 3 Void Rays. And then I'm just going to immediately go into a charge lot all in. And Zerg players, they get a bunch of stuff that deal with Void Rays, and then nothing really deals with charge lots. You get a bunch of roaches that then, of course, get targeted down by the Void Rays. But here's the thing, Full Heart, he's going to find this warp in position before it really is up and running here. The shield battery is going to go down, and I'm not exactly sure what the point of that shield battery was, to be totally honest. It's really far away from the gateway, but now we will, of course, see a second pylon on in. And you know what? I'm not even sure that second pylon is going to complete. It looks like it won't. So we're not going to see any warp-ins here. Yeah, eventually the Void Rays will maybe knock all these lurkings down, but this is a really good move from Full Heart already. There is no robo here, right? So there's nothing you can do to warp in Zealots close to home. And that's, or close, I shouldn't say close to home, close to Full Heart space. And that is going to be a little bit of a difficulty here, as these Zerglings are just going to do a really good job sharking around, trying to do what they can, and this is just buying so much time here for Full Heart. We have Spines on the way, we have Roaches on the way, we have more Queens on the way. Now, make no mistake about it, this is a massively powerful attack here from Dot Coaster. He has cut workers on 26. He's not mining all that much, but okay, we do have a pylon and a gateway on the right-hand side, so Dot Coaster says, look, you shut me down on the left. Let's make things happen on the right, but this Zergling counterattack, it may be useful. Now, this may be a little bit too commitment here from Dot Coaster, or from Full Heart, because all he's got to do is make sure he holds, but hey, killing a gateway, that is less production. Now, of course, Zealots are going to go run on in here, but this is just too much Roach Queen, and that's going to be forced back real fast.
Yeah, and killing that gateway means that, oh, nice job rebuilding that gateway. Ooh, and yeah, Full Heart assuming that it wouldn't get rebuilt. Oh, Adept getting warped in on the wrong side right there. A little bit unfortunate. Does lose that. And, well, no, we shouldn't see this gateway go down. It should survive. Yeah, Adept, ooh, nice job. Just kind of hold position, stutters that forward, and will take down all of the Zerglings. But he's completely all in. He's going to try and rebuild probes now, but he cut extremely long ago. And Full Heart, even though he responded extremely well to this, he still went up to 53 drones, which is a lot. So trying to come back from that kind of economic disadvantage, you don't want to catch me trying to do that. I wouldn't be too happy about that. Oh, and he's supply blocked, unfortunately, right here. So not even going to be able to warp in more units.
Yeah, Steadfast, don't look at the income chart. It's just it tells a sad story of Zerg having a lot of money and the Protoss player not really. But now the Voiders are going to pop on in here. It's going to be a last-ditch effort here from Dot Coaster, and it's just not going to work. There are too many Queens. There are not enough Void Rays here to overpower that, and there are just too many Roaches on the ground. So what really is Dot Coaster supposed to do? Now he's going to take a third base, but it's 8 minutes. He's down a lot of workers. Now, Full Heart, he's only on 40. I thought Full Heart was at 50. I thought I saw Full Heart at 55. But I guess he built a lot of structure.
He was at 53. Yeah. He must have built a lot of buildings. Or, I don't think he didn't lose any. He actually has killed 3 of his opponent's workers, hasn't lost any. Maybe he built those Evo chambers. He's building an extra Spore, a Hydra Den. Yeah, I don't know. He definitely must have built, like, several structures. That's the only way.
Yeah, I think it was just a lot of static. Well, he bought the Hydra Den and got a lot of static defense. Yeah, so I think that's all that it was. But now, hey, You hold off the attack. What do? You just kind of hit that D button. Well, whatever. For me, it's Q, but you hit the D button. You build a lot of drones, and you say, "Ha! You can't touch me." But look at this. We got a Nidus coming on up here. Now, is this going to be for a Roach Queen Ling Nidus? Are we going to see something? Is this going to be Swarm Host play? Actually, yeah, this is probably going to be Swarm Host play, right?
Yeah, I think that would be fantastic, to be honest. Really, he can do anything. The world is his oyster. But I think Swarm Host would be a really safe way of closing this game out, especially on a map like Death Aura, where your opponent is not going to be taking a 4th base for a while. So you can set up a Nidus Worm right here, and then a Nidus Worm right here, and you're going to be able to just be an absolute terrorist with those Swarm Hosts.
There we go. There we go. Nidus on the way, but it looks like this is just to knock out Defender's advantage, maybe to get the Queens across the map here. And Steadfast, I thought we were talking about Starcraft, but clearly you're talking about ping pong.
Yeah. Yeah. Going to be able to bounce between these bases easy as you please. First Immortal is out, and there are some shield batteries at this base, but that is so many roaches in here. 1-1 not quite done for the Zerg player, so a little bit of an anti-timing, but he's got such a huge supply lead, it just shouldn't even matter. No shield battery overcharge getting popped right here, and these shield batteries are going to go down very, very quickly. There we go, the battery overcharge does come down, but the corrosive biles pummeling everything. The Void Rays going down, the Charge Lots going down, the Sentries going down, and that Immortal goes down, and Full Heart goes up. And evens the score at 1 apiece.
Absolutely. So, Steadfast, it's nice to be in a series where we see both teams taking maps. That's already a nice change from what we saw in our first series of the day. But this is also the collegiate, and this means we get something else that is interesting. We will, of course, have... okay, map 3 is swapped to Reclamation. We have we're going on into the 2v2 scenario now. We get more than just 1v1, and actually, I'm really excited about this because I just upgraded my computer, my streaming machine. And what this means, of course, Steadfast, is what's the difference between Reclamation and Reclamation LE? They're both made by Blizzard. Those are two very different maps. Let me. They're two very different maps too. So let's see which one it's supposed to be. The purple one. Yes. Okay, that makes sense. Normally, I would say, yeah, we go with LE, but they're both made by Blizzard, which is really weird. Anyway.
Could it be the TLMC Reclamation or no?
No, it's the Blizzard version. It was brought into the ladder pool off of TLMC. Yeah.
So then, yeah, it's definitely got to be the purple one, because the old one is from quite a while ago. Oh, wait, are you sure it's not the TLMC? Because the Blizzard one is version 0.2, and the TLMC is version 1.1.
Yeah, that's the, because, well, the Blizzard, because, you know, the way TLMC works, right? You know, you do TLMC, and if Blizzard likes it, they bring it actually into the ladder pool. Yeah. So this is iteration 02 of what was put onto the ladder from an initial start, right?
Oh, so, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, so that's how that works. You know, you go and, so see, Dot Coaster and Sojourn. Oh, this is going to be a... Okay, yeah, Gamecast and Sojourn. This is going to be a beefy matchup here.
Oh, yeah.
Sojourn and Doc Coaster versus Full Heart and Iswo. Now, Iswo only gold, quote-unquote. Actually, platinum. Apparently, it looks like promotions are just not happening, but he has been master in the past. Actually, he was masters in... What? Oh, okay, never mind. That was the master's bug. Okay. That's what that was.
So it sounds like we've got some new fans to StarCraft 2 here. So we're going to try and break things down a little bit more here on what makes a StarCraft 2 match. Now 2v2 might be the wrong place to try
I know,
it,
I was gonna say.
since it's a little bit more chaotic overall. But we got a little bit of I guess simplicity to start things off. It's not so bad.
Yeah, absolutely. So if we're going to talk about win conditions here for StarCraft, just a little bit, we can pretty much define them into two things, right? First and foremost is notionally the way you win a game of StarCraft is you knock down all your opponent's structures. If you kill all their structures and they have nothing left on the map, they lose by game condition. The game says they lose. However, that's not how most games end. Right, first and foremost, you build a lot of army, you build a lot of economy. So if we talk about how the game is actually played at the highest level, we kind of break it down into two perspectives. We have like the army engagement kind of more micro thing, and then we have the macro perspective. How much economy do you have? Things like that. Because the whole goal here is you gotta build a lot of stuff. You build a lot of structures that allow you to build a lot of units, build a lot of army that can adequately fight your opponent's army. And then from there, if you can beat your opponent's army, then you're most likely going to win the game. So most often when we see two players go on in, and it's very clear that one player cannot beat the opponent's army anymore. And it's not like even if they give them a minute, they'll be able to maybe beat it again. But if they're just in a too bad of an economic position or too bad of a army position, they will tend to tap out. They'll say GG, go next. They won't make it go on into this position where they have to make all of their structures get taken out. So you want to build a big economy, then you want to build a big army. And then it's all about unit control, multitasking, things like that. And I don't know, maybe I think that's a decent baseline description of things.
Oh, I would agree, 100%. We can kind of get into the nuances of it a little bit more as the game progresses and things where players have an advantage. But yeah, that's a pretty good description, I would say. And as we get into it, we have spawning up in the top left, representing UVU. It is the Riders of Brohan, Doc Coaster. And his ally, Sojourn. Sojourn, of course, taking game 1. Doc Coaster falling down in game number 2, looking to get some redemption.
And their opponents in the bottom right, in the furthest right, in the green. He is the captain of the Weenie Junior Starcraft team at George Mason University, and also their ace, the Zerg player. He is Full Heart. And his partner in the more of the middle, the bottom middle right here in the gold. He is, of course, the partner here. He in the Protoss livery, sure. In the gold, he is Iswo.
And both players. So this is a 2v2 map that's a little bit different from the norm, in that you don't have a shared main base. So what that means is you see this ramp right here. Generally speaking, in the new, there's kind of been an agreement in the 2v2 map making community that you build the base together, just because the way the Zerg race works is that they have very, very fast units in the early game, and that allows them to traverse the map extraordinarily quickly, which means that in wide open areas, they are very strong. So that allows players to oftentimes isolate one opponent from the other two. So effectively, you can turn it into a 2v1. Now, both teams do have a Zerg player, and so that won't necessarily become as impactful in this game. But it is something that has kind of caused map makers overall to try and ensure that many compositions are viable. Protoss, Terran, that you don't have to have a Zerg. They've made it so that oftentimes these bases have one ramp, and both players are kind of on the high ground together. But in this map, it is still pretty close, but not as much as it could be. Now, Sojourn going to be taking a very fast third hatchery here. Zerg, generally speaking, wants to be getting a base up on their opponent. Not as much as it used to be, but still tending towards that in the way the game works, the way the economies scale.
Yeah, I'd say that the +1 base, +2 bases is a pretty solid rule in any non-mirror matchup when we're talking about 1v1. But yeah, you're right. In 2v2, it's a little bit different because of the way the economy works, where past 4 minutes, you can go and you can give money to your opponent. And it's also just tends to be more difficult to take those additional bases. Zergs traditionally, of course, when we look at map design, they're really happy on bigger maps. They're happy on maps that are more spread out, that allow them to take their bases away from where their opponent is. Because if we notice here on the ground, they have this thing called creep. That's the kind of slimy purple stuff on the ground here. Their units move faster on that. And that provides them, well, they put some buildings in there with the queens, the things that are firing right now. And that gives them vision, so that allows them to have a little bit more map control, understand where their opponents are on the map here. But hold that thought, because we have a rather large attack coming on in from Full Heart and Iswo, where, of course, it is going to be Glaives on behind this, but Full Heart, he's already starting things up with a bit of aggression here. Will that Baneling go? Oh, the Baneling will complete. Okay. So Banelings, of course, one of their explosions kills infinite amounts of Zerglings at this point, and they're looking to punish here. The greed here from Doc Coaster and Sojourn, where Sojourn took a rather quick third base, as you mentioned earlier, Steadfast. So we're going to have to see whether Full Heart and Iswo can punish that. Now, it should be noted here, as this Baneling will get targeted down by a couple of Zerglings, it should be noted that Doc Coaster and Sojourn are both Masters players. They're both very good players. I mean, everyone here is very good, but Sojourn and Doc Coaster, they're both Masters 3, Masters 2 players. Full Heart, he's 5K. He's very good. He's on the edge of being pro, but his partner is in Gold League. That puts him at the middle 50%-ish of all players. So it's two very good players versus one excellent player and one middle 50% player. So what we're looking at here in part is, can Full Heart overpower? Can Full Heart look to carry things in some way, shape, or form? And that is, I think, in part what we saw there in the early game aggression. If I can just go knock a player out, if I can, say, knock Sojourn back into the Stone Age with my Zergling Baneling aggression before they're able to really get on into things, then it's just going to be a 2v1 or a 1.5v1, something like that. Maybe that's going to be a little bit better for me. Now, of course, Sojourn on the other side of the map here, looking to knock down some of the economy of his opponent, but, well, Banelings are here. Banelings, the ultimate deterrent of Zerglings in the early game, and they will be forced back.
Yeah, and actually a really, really great little fight here for Full Heart. Sojourn and Doc Coaster are quite ahead in economy. They have several more workers than their opponents, which is going to allow them to mine more long-term, but that also means they sometimes have to sacrifice army for that. Great trade right there. 2 Banelings killing off 4 Banelings of Full Heart. And, well, now Full Heart's attack is kind of squashed. He cannot continue on here, and Sojourn will push him all the way back home. And that's a very good situation. Full Heart, though, he's going 2-base Muta, and normally in this matchup, you see Protoss and Zerg teams. Usually the Protoss goes for Phoenixes, but we're not seeing that. We've seen Glaive Adepts, which are these units right here, and they're very, very good against these small mobile Zerglings. They have an upgrade that increases their attack speed, and we're going to be seeing them try and do that. Meanwhile, one of the red Zerg player for UVU will get on top of that Queen, kill it off, and is going to kind of try and dance back in here. Ooh, a little bit of an awkward rally right there. Will end up losing a fair number of Zerglings. Full Heart holds, but still decent little stuff. Now, as I say that, wow, he actually canceled the Spire and went into a Hydra Den. Did that get scouted? It must have. No, it didn't. Oh, he thought it did. He thought it did, and he canceled it because he thought it did.
Oh, the 100 IQ plays there coming on in, but Steadfast, I was going to take issue with what you said anyways, because it was not 2-base Muta. There were 3 bases done there for Full Heart.
Nah, true, yeah.
Anyway, you just do practice. 2-base Muta, of course, a fairly common style in 1v1 in certain matchups, although less than it used to be, which is actually surprising considering how often we do see. Oh, nice. That will be thwarted here, and with the blink, actually, yeah, okay, that will be forced on back, and that's the Depths are going to take. Well, they're not going to take the best right here, but they are doing some hull damage at least to these doctors before they do end up dying. But yeah, it's actually surprising that 2-base Muta has fallen out of the meta as far as it has, considering how popular quick 3CC play is in ZVT at the moment. In fact, I've cast a lot of Korean TVZ recently, and I don't think I've seen. Okay, I've seen some, but it seems to be very often that it's going to be 3CC play. But I guess with Lurkers being as powerful as they are, that is the deal there. And maybe that's what Full Heart is going to look to lean on into in this game, as of course we did see that rather quick infestation pit, so that is going to allow him to get up into his tier 3 tech, get on up into the hive, which will unlock that, which means he can get upgrades to his Lurkers. Now Lurkers, they burrow down, they fire spines in a long straight line, and hey, Sojourn's going to get a Baneling there. Of course, Banelings, it takes 3 Banelings, no, 2 Banelings to kill a Baneling. But of course, 1 Baneling kills 1 Zergling, so trading them off like that, 1 Baneling for 1 Zergling is really nice here. And actually, Sojourn's getting a little bit aggressive, looking to punish the gold player on in here. Baneling's getting a nice connection on top of that mineral line. And, well, I believe we saw an Archon go down. But of course, with all these Banelings coming on in, they will be able to force Sojourn back. Now, what is Doc Coaster going for here? It's just going to be a Mortal Sentry, as we have a bunch of slow. Okay, that's interesting. A bunch of slow zealots are going to find their way on into the mineral line. These will not get a whole lot done. But the big deal, of course, is the pressure happening on into Iswo's 3rd base. That is a lot of Roaches. That is a lot of Ravagers. That is a lot of Roaches. That is a lot of Immortals. A lot of Sentries coming on in here. And we're just going to have to see really whether Iswo has what he needs to defend here. And I do like the amount of Adepts coming on in. Of course, Adepts do bonus damage to light units, of which the Zerg army is almost entirely made of light units. But no, they're just going to get onto the mineral line. Look to absolutely knock Iswo out of this game. Now, interestingly enough, we don't see that 3rd base going down just yet. I'd like to see maybe a Ravager Vial or 3 knock that out. There we go. Okay, 3rd base will finally go down here. And it looks like the Roaches by themselves are going to be enough to actually beat back the army of Iswo and Full Heart together.
Yeah, and while that was all happening, Iswo lost quite a few workers at that natural base as well as losing that 3rd base, also taking a big blow to his economy. Now, once again, some slow zealots moving out from Doc Coaster. He does not have that charge upgrade yet that gives him a base movement speed upgrade and that charge ability that allows him to connect with any other ground unit close to them. Nice little position at the high ground here for Full Heart, but he does not have enough to actually hold on. And a little bit of a bluff allowing him to hold right there. If Doc Coaster... Yeah, Doc Coaster had an observer. He saw up that ramp, so I'm okay with not committing up, but that was an opportunity for sure. And, well, they are just very far ahead in this game. The coordination looking very good from these two.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just a bunch of Hydras, and while Hydras are very good, they do a lot of DPS, they attack rather quickly, but, well, if the Roaches can get on top of them, that won't really matter here, but unfortunately, it is just one army against two, and actually, what does Full Heart have? Actually, no, yeah, the upgrade advantage actually very much being quite strongly there in Doc Coaster and Sojourn's favor. +2 ground attack for the, or +2 ranged attack for the Roaches, for the Zerg player, +1 for Doc Coaster, of course, on the other side of the map. Full Heart with no upgrades. He does, of course, have functional upgrades, so Groove Spines, Hydra Speed, Baneling Speed, Zergling Speed, but he does not have any upgrades that actively make his units do more damage per hit or take less damage per hit. That being said, though, Isvo actually has 1-1, which is interesting. Generally, against Zerg, you'll see the additional attack upgrade instead of the armor upgrade, but it will add a little bit more heft, a little bit more beef to his army, and he is going into double Colossus tech, so Israel and Full Heart have done a very good job of defending on it and getting on into a higher level of tech. Here we have Lurkers, well, Lurkers done, but more Lurkers on the way. Lurker range just about done, so they're going to be able to shoot a little bit farther, and that's going to actually make them really powerful. And it's just, especially considering it's going to be against a bunch of Roach Ravager Levane. And, oh, when did those mutas come from? Okay, that's gonna be big.
Yeah, he just made 9 mutas to just have some fun, and he is having some fun with them, picking off a lot of these probes, really cutting into his opponent's economy. There are Blink Stalkers available, but no cannons covering this base. That's gonna be a lot of dead probes. Iswo getting knocked back into the Stone Age, economically speaking. Normally you want to be between 66 and 80 probes as the game progresses on, but getting dropped down to 41 now. Not going to be able to produce as many units if you can't mine as many resources.
Absolutely. Now, I guess the one good thing here, well, actually, no, it looks like Iswo is spent all of his money, which, you know, props to him. If he is truly Gold League, as the sheet says, the fact that he's spending his money right now, that's already a lot better than a lot of players in Gold do. He's really holding his own here, so mad props to him. But Sojourn and Doc Coaster both sitting on a decent bank here, so trying to figure out exactly what they go on into, and I do like this. Sojourn realized, okay, the game is late. I see Colossus on the field. I saw some Lurkers. Actually, as we do have a siege up here on the middle right-hand side here. Full Heart looking to do something, but these Disruptors are actually going to make some massive trades here. And now it looks like the army's just going to go on in, but that is a big choke to run into some Lurkers. Looks like it's going to be just enough here. There's enough detection. The Viper's not going to get anything done. Banelings, of course, getting on top of all these Hydras. And, you know, suddenly, even if that is a scary position to attack on into Lurkers, looks like it doesn't really matter. That being said, though, look at Sojourn's supply. It went from a lot to a whole hell of a little.
Yeah, and now he gets back on a creep, which actually make these Banelings more effective. They get into the mineral line and are going to take out a ton of workers. And, well, that was actually a lot of losses for Sojourn, like you did say, but still. Now comes the Protoss army. Does have Storm and Disruptors. Psionic Storm going to devastate those Hydralisks. Hydralisks, of course, very, very vulnerable to that AoE. And, well, we will have now, once again, 2 armies fighting 1. I was kind of praising their coordination earlier, but now it seems like Sojourn and Doc Coaster a lot of times kind of getting 1v2ing their opponents, similar to what Full Heart tried to do with that siege up on the Lurkers. You gotta fight 2v2 or at least 2v1. Like you can't go in alone in a 2v2 scenario. It's in the name.
Absolutely. Oh, look at these disrupt shots. Is he paying attention? He's not. Massive shots there. But, oh, a Full Heart. That's even bigger. A couple Lurkers are going to go down. And, yeah, they're going to burr up, but they're going to burr up out of range. Oh, well.
Little bit of friendly fire right there. Banelings looks like they came in and cleaned out a ton of probes. And now we're going to have them try and get into this resource. Yeah, oh, nice positioning on that Queen. Drones are still going to take some big hits, though. Very, very, very big damage.
Absolutely. So we have about 72 workers on either player here for the UVU team. But Full Heart, he's sitting on 47 drones. His opponent's sitting on 29 workers. So even if he is mining or if he's sitting on a massive mineral bank, which he is, this is a lurker tech player at this point. Yeah, he does have some rich Vespene geysers, so it means he mines double the amount from that geyser as he normally would. Well, he still doesn't have enough gas, right? Lurkers are very expensive from a gas perspective here. Of course, gas, if we haven't mentioned that, gas is kind of the tech resource, where minerals are more of the kind of infrastructure and base unit resource, if we want to talk about it like that. So to build units that cast spells, to build units that are high up on the tech tree, you need a decent amount of gas. And, well, Full Heart just not really mining quite as much as he would like. Now, of course, actually, he's mining a lot. He's just spending a lot of it, and certainly outstripping his mineral income or outstripping his gas income for the moment with the minerals. There we go. That's the proper way to say it.
And speaking of tech, we have some very, very powerful tech coming out of Doc Coaster here for UVU. He's got carriers, the ultimate weapon in the Protoss arsenal. He's got those Colossi that are very, very strong with their long-range laser beams. He's got those disruptors that throw out those little bright balls that you never want to touch, called the Purification Nova. He has got a lot of very, very powerful tech and a High Templar. He's actually rocking all 3 forms of Protoss ground splash. I mean, technically 4 if you include Archons, but that's kind of like the afterthought. Ooh, nice Abduct coming in on the Viper. Vipers, these high-tech spellcaster units that the Zerg has allows them to yoink high-priority units like the Carrier, like the Colossus. So a nice move from Sojourn, knocking one of those out very early.
Absolutely. Now we have looks like a big kind of flank attempt here, but you do not want to go down that ramp. Not against how many lurkers? Not against 14 lurkers just sitting there. That is a difficult thing to fight into, but you got to remember here, there are a lot of carriers. Now, carriers, they do have +1. They will eventually go on into +2, and a lot has been made in the StarCraft community as of late about the +2 carrier timing, especially against a bunch of Hydras. They do have +1 Carapace, so it's not going to be quite as powerful as it normally would be. But this +2 carrier timing, Steadfast, how powerful is it?
Well, it's pretty damn powerful. I can tell you I've lost some very, very sad games to that. And, well, we are going to see some disruptors coming on in. Ooh, shot just getting taken out before it did detonate. Would have been a lot of dead units right there. But this one will connect, getting some huge damage, triggering those Immortals barriers. And the Carriers, they are coming in, devastating this base. Does need to get some target fire in on these units. And there we go, is going to go after one of the Colossi. Nice Abduct will grab one of those very valuable Colossi. Meanwhile, a couple of Carriers getting abducted as well. But there's just not enough on the ground for Iswo. And Full Heart frantically trying to get back with his main army to try and help out his ally. But there's still so many big power units here from Doc Coaster. And now we have Full Heart moving back with his army. Ooh, Lurkers do unburrow. And this is actually going to be some devastating damage to Sojourn's army. But Iswo is effectively knocked out of the game at this point. Even though Full Heart gets some great trades against Sojourn. Iswo, he's only on 23 workers, and he's mined out of his main base, almost mined out of his natural expansion, only about half the resource patches there, and Full Heart taking it on the chin as well, and now more carriers coming in. Nice Abducts. Oh, but the disruptor shots devastating him, and it will be UVU taking down game number 3.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Sojourn tried to break 14 lurkers with well, he tried to break 14 lurkers as he's like, oh, yes, my opponent must be distracted dealing with the attack from Doc Coaster there on the left side of the map. But unfortunately for him, it's a 2v2. That's not one of those plays you can make where you're like, oh, yeah, I'm attacking on the left side. My opponent's distracted. So he just kind of runs on in there. And, well, what does Full Heart do? He unburrows, burrows back, and the entire army of Sojourn just disappears in 14 lurker spikes. So that was a little bit costly, but at the end of the day, it was a game of economy more than anything else. Doc Coaster and Sojourn, they were able to just build that much more, have that much more money, have that much more production. And at the end of the day, it didn't matter how many times Full Heart took a good fight with his lurkers. His opponents were just able to afford that much more, advance that much further up the tech tree, and they just built an army that Full Heart could not beat. Certainly not 1v2.
Yeah, and this is a really, really tough position now for the Weenie Hut Junior StarCraft team, because they kind of relied, I think, on Full Heart winning that 2v2 a little bit. Next up, it's going to be Janitor Bob and Iswo coming in for the game number 4, and that is going to make things... it's not impossible for them to win, for sure. But this is going to be a tough one. We will have...
You know...
Oh, wait. Hang on. No, Sojourn can't play again.
He's played in his 1v1 and in his
2v2, but he's listed as playing. Yeah, no, he actually can't play.
Wait, let me.
Right? That's right? Yeah.
Wait, is it you can't? Wait, is it the one player can't play twice, or is it the one team in a 2v2 can't play twice?
One player can play twice in a 2v2, but I don't think you can play a 2v2 and a 1v1. Or sorry, two 2v2s and also a 1v1. We gotta check that because we have to make sure. Hopefully Whisper is available.
No, you can.
For sure?
Right? Because yes. So actually, the example for a best of 5 is player A plays in game 1, player B plays in game 2, in game 3 A plus B play, and in game in the second 2v2 B plus C play. So you do have player B playing in 3 maps, both 2v2s and a 1v1.
Oh, then I'm very surprised that they left out. Why would Full Heart not have played then? That's very surprising to me that he didn't play with Janitor Bob in game 4. Oh, that's a
well.
very...
I guess if you play in both, yeah, there is. I guess maybe if you play in both 2v2s, I don't know if you're eligible for ace at that point.
Oh, that might be it. That might be it. Yeah, that's probably what it is. So we're looking at a must-win scenario for. Sorry about that, guys. It gets a little bit complicated with the 2v2s. I think you're right about that you can't play in the ace, because I'm almost certain that you can't play in more than 3 maps, including the ace. There's no way that you'd be able to play in 4 maps, including the ace. That would. Yeah. So yes. So yeah. That's got to be what it is. Which does limit the options for UVU if they don't win right here. That puts them to basically Doc Coaster pretty much having to play the ace match if it comes down to it, I think. Unless they have somebody else ready in the wings.
They can. I'm looking. It's actually specified in the rules. Specifically, a player may play one 1v1 map in the first 4 non-ace maps, then play again for a 1v1 ace map. That same player may play in one player combination for one non-ace 2v2 map, and then again in the same or different combination in one ace 2v2 map.
Oh yeah, I think we should pause this because I don't think this is actually.
They're definitely fine to play in. They're definitely fine to play in both 2v2s.
Okay.
Collectively, a player may play in only total 2 times per format, 1v1 and 2v2.
Okay.
So
yeah, I don't want to like cause any disruptions. I just also don't want to have the stuff being awkward. But
we
got it all figured out
we're
now.
in it now. Something like that we can pretend to at the very least.
Yeah, there you go. And here we go. We are getting into game number 4. Spawning down in the bottom left. Needing to rally hard for George Mason University and the Weenie Hut Junior Starcraft team. It is the yellow Protoss player, Iswo. And their ally, Janitor Bob.
And of course, on the other side of the map, looking to take this away in a clean 3-1 victory, representing the University of Utah Valley, Riders of Brohan. He is the Red Zerg player, Sojourn. And his partner in the purple, the Terran player, he is Igneal.
And, well, what I was saying earlier about the shared map base, this is kind of what I was talking about here. So they're all on the high ground, and then there's just that one slightly bigger ramp that does allow into the main base. Yeah, so we are going to see a difference of matchups here. It's going to be a Terran and a Zerg going up against a Zerg and a Protoss. Now, still both players having that Zerg. Of course, this is a rather large map, a fair number of attack paths, even though there's a lot of chokes that kind of limit the strengths of some of the Zerg units, especially those early game units. There is still a lot of different counterattack paths, which is somewhere that the Zerglings really do benefit from. Now, because of the length of the map and because of how long it is, probably not going to see some kind of crazy rush coming out of either set of Zerg players, but yeah, you never know. We did see Sojourn kind of try and put some pressure on earlier, even though he was defending from Exxon's Full Heart. Might try and get aggressive as well. And, I mean, it's a strong way to play it. It's going to be a quick third hatchery. What do you make of this? What do you think we'll see from these players, Beowulf?
Well, you know, actually, are you sure that's yeah? Okay, is that a quick third hatch? And yeah, okay, it is. Never mind. You had the drone selected, and I did not notice. But
Oh yeah,
anyway,
yeah, sorry, yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute, there's no hatch here. What are you talking about? But yes, it will be a roughly standard timed third hatch there. You know, if we look at a 1v1 scenario. And one of the nice things about Emerald City here is it's rather easy to get your 3 bases pretty easy for both players pretty quickly. There are a lot of chokes right around there, so it's rather easy to defend. Of course, that does also mean it's rather pushable if you have any sort of siege unit. You have siege tanks, you have Colossi, you have lurkers, something like that that can really abuse and really like those choked off positions. But it is fairly simple to get a third base here. But look at this, Igneal and Sojourn getting a little bit aggressive here with their Zerglings and their Reaper, looking to make use of that synergy, and they absolutely will, taking a positive trade. But of course, the Queen, the ultimate defensive unit in the Zerg early game, will be able to ward everything off. And yeah, okay, these Zerglings should not get much of anything done. Not with the Adept here. Adept, of course, does bonus damage to the Zerglings. So at the end of the day, we saw some damage on a probe, and that was about the only difference between what happened with the 2 players here. But we do have speed done here, and this is gonna be a Ling Bane all in coming on in here. Now, unfortunately for Janitor Bob, it is supply blocked, but there is still gas in this hatchery, so he can, or gas out of this extractor, so he continues to mine gas, which means he will be able to build a lot of Banelings coming on in here. Of course, Banelings are very good against early game units for both Terran and Zerg, as long as they're not mechanical. We're gonna have to see exactly how that one works out here. Now, of course, Hellions are out. Hellions damn good against these Zerglings, so they will be able to ward them off for the time being. But Igneal, Sojourn, they got to be careful, right? They have to make sure that they treat this with the respect that it does deserve here. And there we go. Sojourn, he's got his Baneling nest on the way, bunch of Zerglings, bunch of Banelings on the way. Looks like he should be totally fine.
Yeah, Janitor Bob really getting caught with that supply block by 4 overlords at once. And you'll see in that little bottom right position, that's your supply. And the big number is the amount of units they have. Each unit has a supply value. So, for example, Zerglings, they're actually kind of a funky one. They pop out in pairs. They're actually half a supply each. Same with Banelings. So you always want to have a little bit of supply room. But Janitor Bob building 4 of those supply structures at once. Oh, big Baneling connection right there. Those supply structures do allow him to do more. Ooh, now he's got to be very careful. Has to split these Banelings up so he doesn't take a very bad trade. With 2 Banelings being able to kill potentially all of those Banelings.
Oh, absolutely. But Steadfast, we also got to look at something else here. This is a charge lot. This is a 7-gate charge lot all in. So it's dogs and cars versus angry warrior men and a bunch of Zerglings, a bunch of Banelings. And you know what? I think this has just got Sojourn and Igneal with their pants down.
Oh,
they do not have enough here. And the big surround.
That was huge right there. He needed those Hellions so desperately. And now the Baneling will get cleaned up. But that is more Lings for Janitor Bob here. He's going to be able to break through at least temporarily. More Zerglings popping out. But Janitor Bob and Iswo do need to kind of meet up with your units. A bunch more Banelings morphing in on the bottom left. Banelings are the... there's a lot of splash damage here for Sojourn and Igneal. Those Hellions, though they're not being microed, they will get taken down. Now there is a lot of Banelings morphing in. If they can finish up and get some detonations on those Zealots, could be huge. Ooh, those are some big splashes, but the Zealots are very tanky. Usually takes 5 or 6 Baneling hits to kill them. Now there's a tank behind this. And, oh, that's a big Baneling detonation. Zealots gonna settle for going after this natural expansion. The aggression from Janitor Bob and Iswo could be what the doctor ordered for the Weenie Hut Jr. Starcraft 2 team.
Oh, look at that. We had the Hellion absolutely doing a little bit of body block there, keeping the tank safe, but it is only 1 tank. It is not out yet. So, well, now we have the Charles Zerglings. They're going to run on in here, and look at this Igneal. He's going to make kind of a wall here with the extra 2 command centers. So as long as he's not knocked down to like 0 SCVs, he's going to be somewhat decent. Of course, he will have triple mules to deal with that, but I'm much more worried about his partner. Sojourn, only on 20 workers, has no economy either, or has no army either. So really not a whole lot here, and he is absolutely getting knocked out of this game. These players were so damn greedy. Quick third hatchery, quick third command center, and you couple that up against a 2 base all-ins. Well, Steadfast, that is certainly not a recipe for success.
No, it is absolutely not. Sojourn is going to morph in a ton of Banelings right here, and now there are a lot of Hellions. This is actually Mech out of Igneal, which is actually the perfect production setup, because he's going to be able to build so many of those Hellions. But this is still a very frightening situation. Now, it looks like Iswo and Janitor Bob might be showing some nerves right here. They are kind of fumbling, and there's a huge Baneling detonation on those Zealots. That was enough to knock them so low on HP, and it looks like this very, very scary situation has mostly been weathered, but they are not out of the woods just yet. But that's really, really big that they canceled all those Banelings.
Absolutely, and I love this here from Igneel. You mentioned it will be mech, but more importantly, it is battle mech. We're not seeing turtle mech here. We're not seeing a bunch of tanks and hellbats, whatever. We are seeing Hellion Cyclone here that will allow Igneel to be active on the map to punish Iswo and Janitor Bob for being so aggressive and not killing them right then and there. You get a bunch of Cyclones, you get a bunch of Hellions, you get on into Blue Flame, and that is a really powerful force that puts a lot of pressure on the map here. Now, of course, a lot of Zealots will make the Zealot kite, or excuse me, this Hellion kite a little bit more difficult. But now with the Cyclones, suddenly the shoe is on the other foot here. Now, I do like this here from Janitor Bob. He's going to look for a bit of a surround, but this is a lot of Hellions. And unfortunately, all the Zerglings are not fighting as one. And, well, the Zealots aren't either. So, yeah, maybe we're eventually going to see a surround. But look at this. It's just going to be a hot pickup. And meanwhile, the Liberators, raining freedom from above, are going to knock down a decent amount of the army here of Iswo and of Janitor Bob.
Yeah, only picking up 2 kills, but still better than nothing. Basically, the way Liberators work, they have a small air-to-air attack, but they also have these freedom zones that you just don't step in or you die. Speaking of stepping in and dying, I think a pretty big Baneling hit just hit on Janitor Bob's Zerglings right there. And yeah, that counterattack that started to gain some steam immediately runs out of it, right out of the gate.
All right, so where do we stand right now? Terran, 35 workers. Sojourn, also on about 30 odd workers, 32 workers there. Iswo on 37, and Janitor Bob, the big winner here, actually at a fairly decent worker count. He's on 50 workers, 49 workers right now. So he, of anyone here, has the army, or at least has the ability to build the army and build the economy that he wants. And how does he do that? Okay, he's going to go on into Aspire behind this. I really do like this. However, mutas against battle mech are maybe not the best thing unless you have a big economy. I'm talking 80, 90 workers to really make it work. These Cyclones, they'll actually trade fairly decently against Circling or against mutas, as long as the mutas are not allowed to stay on top of them, and a properly microed Cyclone will be able to out-micro the mutas there, and then, well, each lock-on is dead mutas, so that's a bit problematic. Now, look at this Baneling micro. Very good there from Sojourn. He's going to look to go on and try to get something done. But really, this is a game of how hard can Sojourn allow Neil to carry, right? Because he's not in the best position right now. He's only on 46 workers. His economy was absolutely dropped on into the Stone Age. He lost his third base. Igneel, sure, he was forced to lift off. Sure, he lost a lot of SCVs, but mules are a powerful thing. He was able to stay back in there, and he did not lose a lot of his army as well. If we look at resources lost, he is absolute. Oh, well, that is even worse than I thought. He's absolutely the big winner here, only losing 3,000 resources over the course of this game, coupled with 7,000 of his partner, and 6,000 from his opponents. So absolutely, he has been able to keep more than anyone else. And that is putting him in a fantastic position on in here into this game. If there we have Macfield Accelerator, it's done. Blue Flame is done. But now it's going to be a bunch of DTs. And oh, look at that! The whole position micro! Unfortunately, it's not quite enough, and the DTs will run on in. No, do we not have scans?
I don't think we do, and I don't think they... Well, we do have scans, but I don't think they saw those blurs. And Iswo gonna come in here, gonna find a lot of damage with these Dark Templar. Ooh, even gonna get a way out of the scan vision. These are the permanently invisible men, and they are gonna get into each mineral line and start wreaking havoc on the economy of the Terran player. A lot of workers going down right now. This 1DT, Dark Templar they are called. 6 kills on that one, including a siege tank. Oh, and a scan on units that weren't even there. Oh no, but the DT walks into it. Oh, that's very painful. But now, the mutas from Janitor Bob can start to go to work. Oh,
actually, how many mutas do we have here? It's 11 mutas to 10, which actually means that, well, Sojourn, unless he gets on top of his Zerglings, cannot fight. So mutas, they have a fairly good air-to-air, air-to-ground attack. They regen really quickly. But the big deal there, the big deal with mutas when you look at them, is they do full damage and to the first whatever they're attacking, and then their glaives bounce twice and do a third of the damage. So they do a third and then a ninth of the damage to the extra unit. So the way you actually deal with it when you're looking at muta versus muta fights is you want to put something underneath it. You put Zerglings, you put Marines, I guess, in 2v2 scenario. You put these things underneath it so the things on the ground soak the muta shots instead of the other mutas. That will allow them to trade a lot better. Now, of course, with mutas here, with muta counts it being just about even, and neither player is really going to want to take those trades here. Those Banelings, well, a lot of them are going to go down, but even then, we're going to see a mineral line absolutely evaporate because, hey, Speedlings, they're a powerful thing. Actually, they're not for +1, but they're just powerful Banelings on the ground. And now, once again, Sojourn has been knocked back into the Stone Age, but look at this. He will be able to knock down the Dark Shrine that caused so many issues for his partner Igneel early on. And now while the Dark Shrine, oh, it's going to stay alive, actually. That's unfortunate.
This is a little bit risky, actually, out of the UVU team right here. They are going to lose all their Liberators, and a lot of these Mutalisks will go down. Janitor Bob all of a sudden has not a lot of stuff that deals with Mutas from the Zerg Terran team. There are Thors coming out, which Thors and Liberators both have air, anti-air splash. Thors shooting ground to air, Liberators shooting air to air, but these Mutas have so much mobility. Ooh, now this missile turret does have an anti-air attack, and it can be repaired up by those SCVs, but so many Mutas will take it out. Oh, now the Liberators are going to get some good splash damage, but the Mutas will stack out and stack up and take them out. And now this is most of the army getting cleaned up from Igneel. And that's a lot of Hellbats on the air that don't shoot up. This Thor does have that splash damage, but not enough to take out those Mutalisks. And this is going to be Janitor Bob getting an amazing trade.
This just, so we did not see the Mutas magic box in there, so that was a problem. And actually, the Mutas on the other side of Sojourn getting tremendous work done. But Steadfast, this just kind of game here. This is just suddenly 20 Mutas because, of course, it looks like Isro did give Janitor Bob a decent amount of his gas. But yeah, there's nothing here that really deals with these Mutas. Unfortunately, Igneel and Sojourn did not take the threat quite seriously enough. I don't think there are enough spores. How many spores do we have on the map right now? Only 2, and not enough missile turrets. So realistically, these Mutas are just absolutely they're undealt with. This. Oh, the third base will just die as well. So yeah, we're gonna have some spores here. Mutas are gonna dive on top of that, and Mutas fighting spores never a good idea. But when you have this many, I'm not sure it really matters all that much. As we just don't have enough Thors out Steadfast. This Muta switch was tremendous. Janitor Bob and Israel looks like they're coming on in with the upset here. And Steadfast, I'm pretty sure we're going on into a game 5.
It is looking like that is a very high chance. And there is the GG coming out from Sojourn. Igneel gonna drop the GG as well. And Janitor Bob and Iswo with the upset comeback. Absolutely fantastic stuff from them. They looked in a really, really rough scenario for a lot of that game, but a fantastic turnaround from Janitor Bob and Iswo. Those mutas from Janitor Bob were so clutch, and that was just very, very exciting stuff. And we are now headed into the ace match. Who do you think we're going to see from both players, from both teams?
Well, I can tell you I know who the Weenie Hut Jr. Starcraft team is going to put on in as their ace, because it's going to be Full Heart. There is no question there. It is a 3-player team. Full Heart is 5K. The other 2 players are Diamond and Diamond and Platinum. I love that. Masters 3, but Platinum 2 MMR because he dealt with the bug. Anyway, so Diamond and Platinum, and then you have a 5K player. Yeah, you go with that. On the other side of the map, though, it's either Doc Coaster or Sojourn. And Doc Coaster kind of got bopped by Full Heart in the game that they played. But okay, there we go. It's going to be Full Heart, and it's going to be Doc Coaster here for our ace players.
That it is, and the map is going to be Jagannatha here. One of the bigger maps in the pool, and a lot of wide open areas for engagements. This is going to be a pretty good map for the Zerg player here. I gotta say, this has been a very, very good, very exciting series. Probably one of the better ones we've had in the CEA overall. And I am really looking forward to this game number 5. Quick predictions.
Absolutely.
What do you think?
I think, you know, with what we saw, what happened with Doc Coaster in the previous game, or in the previous, in game 2, I do think this is going to be a Full Heart victory. I do think Full Heart just looked a little bit better there in that series. But, you know, you say it's a bigger map, it's probably good for the Zerg. That idea of Zergs like bigger maps, okay, that kind of has fallen by the wayside in this matchup, specifically because of the advent of this double Stargate build idea that we've seen Protoss players really adopt, right? And that loves being able to get a 3-4 bases pretty easily, get on into a bunch of carriers, and just building this army that the Zerg cannot really deal with. So we're going to have to see, and you know, Juggernaut is a really good map for that. So we're going to have to see whether Doc Coaster opts for that strategy, can get on up to that, or whether he's going to do something else. But Steadfast, we're loaded on into game 5. Take it away.
Here we go, spawning up in the top right, representing the Utah Valley University. It is Doc Coaster from the Riders of Brohan.
And his opponent going for that 12 pool once again in the red, representing the Weenie Hut Jr. Starcraft team at George Mason University. Give it up for Full Hearts.
Now, I've got something kind of nifty little stat. These guys are technically 1-1 against each other in today's event. Now, granted, one of them was a 1v1, one of them was a 2v2, but makes for an interesting little statistic that not only is it an ace match for the entire event, it's technically an ace match between the two of them. So that's kind of cool.
You know, I'm not sure if I count that, because we have to look at the if we look at how evenly matched these players are, we gotta look at kind of the aggregate MMR of the games they played, right? So Full Heart is about 5K, Dot Coaster 4.5K, and it's funny, when you get up that high, those MMR differentials can actually mean more than they are when you're at lower levels, in terms of like actual skill. Like 100 MMR when you're looking at 5K versus 5.1K feels like a whole lot more powerful than 100 MMR between 2K and 2.1K, something like that. But on top of that, we kind of add things together, and the Dot Coaster Sojourn team was sitting there around 9,000 total MMR between the two of them, and well, it was like 6,000 MMR, 6,000, 7,000 MMR for the Full Heart Israel team. So definitely you did expect Sojourn and Dot Coaster to win, and well, they did win, although Full Heart did make the game look close. Right, he did do a good job there, and actually Israel did a fairly good job too. And look at this, the Zealots will get caught on out once again. This is disastrous here.
Yeah, there is not a unit on the way. Nice micro from Full Heart right there. And he's going to be able to take down this gateway at the very least. Nice rewall from Dot Coaster behind this. But it's still a while before that Adept pops out. And his shield battery may go down as well. Ooh, nice rewall once again. But this has been a lot of damage coming in here out of Full Heart. And he may even be able to kill off this gateway. And if he does... No, he's not going to commit for it. Yeah, probably wouldn't have gotten it anyways. But at the very least, he can make sure that this gateway does not get canceled, because if it does, he can just run right in there, and if it can't get canceled, you can't get out of your base. Oh, that did not occur to me. This cybernetics core is under threat. You can't put this Adept in a position that covers both buildings from the inside. But second Adept,
two Adepts can do that.
Yeah, two Adepts can do that.
I was gonna say 2 Adepts can do that. But this is so much damage, right? 1 gateway, 2 Zealots, and a bunch of additional pylons that you did not want to build.
Oh! I thought for sure that was finished. Damn. That's really important that got canceled.
Oh, yeah. 99.99 repeating percent complete. But look at this. We will have an Adept or a Glaive timing most likely coming on up here. Behind this is Dot Coaster says, look, I lost a lot. I don't really want to get into a late game macro game against you, Full Heart. Not here, not in the context of this game, but maybe I can punish you just a little bit. If I get my glaives on a somewhat decent timing, if I get on into that 4-gate glaive tech, maybe, just maybe, I'll be able to catch you sleeping. Maybe I'll be able to take advantage of the fact that your speed is going to be later, that you have less gas overall, because you've been hitting your drones really hard to make up for the fact, well, that you went for a 12-full, but as I say that, looks like Full Heart never pulled out a gas. So that may not be true whatsoever here. And there we go, Robo on the way, and we should see glaives get started just about now.
We could see Overlord speed. Oh, never mind, he doesn't need it, he sees everything. Oh, okay, I have played against is this a fake? I don't think this is a fake. I've played against this build before. This is a very frustrating build to go up against. It is a charge lot harass build into DTs. And, okay, never mind. Nope, it's just a fake. Complete fake. And I actually really like that then, because now we're going to have Full Heart thinking this is charge loss. He doesn't see that Dark Shrine. It's just a little bit out of range. This is actually a brilliant maneuver out of Dot Coaster.
And look at this. Full Heart isn't... Well, actually, is Full Heart going to get the scout off on that? No, he will not. He's going the wrong way. Full Heart, he thinks he's getting the full-on scout. He's getting the follow-up maybe on what is being produced. Oh, is he going to get it? He's turning left. Will he get it in time? No, the Stalker will kill it just in time.
That is so painful for Full Heart. You would never expect a tech building to be here, because theoretically a Zergling would see it from right here.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, what do we have? Do we have any spores on the map? We don't. Full Heart cutting corners here, saying, look, you're probably going for Adepts. If I get spores, I need them later. And of course, I'm going to have the lair anyways, but we already have the Warp Prism moving across the map, and it looks like it will actually skirt the vision. Oh, it's going to pass through everything. Zerglings are looking. They don't see it. The Overlord doesn't see it. This Overlord, or excuse me, this Warp Prism has managed to skirt every single thing on the map now. So these DTs, when they warp in, are going to get a lot done. And look at this. It's going to be a Charge Light Archon all in behind this. We have Charge actually on the rail, on the way for real this time. Now, these DTs will arrive as the lair is done. but how much energy do we have on this queen? Not a lot, not enough for a transfuse, so this hatch is dead.
Oh, click it. Click the hatch. Click the hatch. Click the hatch. Okay. Oof. I was going to say, he could have gotten very greedy right there. Does pick the queen off. And this is a dead hatchery. This reminds me a lot of my ladder games when I am just not paying attention, don't see the DTs, get caught off guard, and now Full Heart is in a very tough position.
Well, you say that, but it is 18 army supply to 48, so the supplies are a little bit scary right now, but it's going to be Immortal, Charge Lot, Archon on in here. And Doc Coaster, if he's allowed to last like another minute, right? If he's allowed to build up for maybe another minute here, build up that army, this is going to be objectively terrifying here for Full Heart. He's only going to be on 2 bases. It's going to be 2 base production. Actually, he's going to lose another queen, I think. Now, the queen is going to back up in time. Yeah, okay, well, too many roaches on the ground to drop those Archons with any good conscience. But there we go. We have 3 more gateways on the way, so it's 7 gate.
Awkward spreading a creep tumor into a into 2 Archons. But sorry, go on.
So it's going to be 7 gate, Archons, Charge Lots, a couple of sentries. And there is, again, not a lot of gas here for Full Heart. He does have 4 gas, of course. He does not have 6. And he is spending all that gas into maybe getting some upgrades, into getting roach speed, into getting things like that. So we're not going to see a ton of Ravagers on the map here. And that's going to be a bit of a problem with how many sentries that there are, how many force fields there will be. You need that to make sure that things happen as they should, to make sure that you can actually fight the army as you want. Okay, that Overlord will be allowed to stay alive.
I don't like that at all. Ooh. That's a nice find.
Down, but
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter too much outside of from a scouting perspective, because, I mean, Full Heart's out of 162 supply, going for the laser level Overlord commitment. But now, look, we're going to have a fight go on in here, and there's some room for some fantastic force fields. The Biles have already landed, so half this army of roach is going to be evaporated in a second. Now, down here, and that is a bit of a problem. You do need that, and now we do have Guardian Shield coming on in here. The Biles are going to go down, but okay, only 2 Zealots get on in, but it's still the power of the Immortals, the power of the Archons that are going to fight this so damn well. And you've got to remember here, there was not a lot of production for the time being, but look at this, with Roaches coming on in, Recall will get on force here, which means the Immortals are going to get targeted down here, and getting that Warp Prism was such a big deal there. It was looking so good for Doc Coaster. It looked like he had what he needed, but he did not at the end of the day. He was forced back.
And now Full Heart is going to be able to breathe a little bit, get a few more rounds of production. These injects providing so many larvae, which are the backbone of the Zerg, and allow them to produce either economic units, drones, or those fighting units in the roaches. And Full Heart getting, as you said, the clutchest of corrosive biles, taking down that War Prism. And that is what he needed. Nice contaminate right there. Gonna disrupt another Immortal from coming down, and even gonna get out with the Overseer. With that speed, it is really just a Ferrari.
And it does look like here Doc Coaster interested in taking a 3rd base behind this. I think kind of the play is you get a Robo Bay, you get some disruptors, and you just go round 2. I don't see a world where, even with knocking down that 3rd base, he didn't kill a lot of workers. So, oh my, is there? Okay, there is, okay. I was just saying, is there protection there? But no, there is, it's fine. I don't see a world here where Doc Coaster takes a 3rd base and wins this game, right? It is 9 minutes down into this game. He is down 6 workers, or 5 workers. I can do math on stream, sure. But, I mean, the way a Zerg scales versus how a Protoss scales with money, the Zerg scales so exponentially better in games like this, right? Having that 3rd base, Full Heart can very easily take a 4th base at this point. Well, he has that larva, as you said, so Zergs have a very bursty production cycle. They can decide every time through, once their injects pop, what they want to build. Is it going to be some more roaches? Is it going to be army? Is it going to be economy? Is it going to be supply? And because now Full Heart knows that he is safe, he can say, okay, look, I'm going to spend all of my larvae, and I'm just going to build a lot of drones. And suddenly, from this 47, 48 worker count that I was at, suddenly I'm at 80, right? Suddenly I'm at 70 workers. I have the time. I don't need to build army at the moment. I'm going to build up that economy. It's a lot easier for them to do that. Meanwhile, of course, for the Protoss player, they are bound by the standard production cycle. Every 45 seconds, a probe gets built. You have a chrono to make that a little bit faster, but it's certainly not quite as advantageous when you get an extra base to actually be able to fill it as well as you would like. Now, we have the push coming on in here, but Storm is not done steadfast. So a lot of money has been committed here on into a later game tech. Something that's going to work on a little bit later on in here, as those Biles are going to land on top of a bunch of Immortals, and now we have Full Heart. He's going to run on in here. All the High Templar are going to go down. Powerful +1 Zerg. There's nothing left.
Corrosive Biles will rain down on that shield batteries. Battery overcharge goes down. All the power units are dead. And Doc Coaster, who was so close to taking it down, will be forced to tap out. And Exxon's Full Heart wins it for his team, for the Weenie Hut Juniors. Gonna be able to clutch it out in what was a, well, for lack of a better term, butthole puckering series. George Mason University takes it down.
Absolutely. What a great series there from both teams. Actually, that was very close. Game 5 could have gone either way. Game 4 could have gone either way. I really did think that UVU was going to take it in Game 4, actually, once they were able to stabilize. Really, outside of the Game 2, where Full Heart did just kind of get that advantage and roll with it, all the games in this series were very close. All the players played very well. And, of course, massive shout-out to things. Now, of course, when we look at what this game meant, this is in the challenger bracket. This is not in the seeding bracket. So teams from this bracket can actually fail to make playoff. Of course, Utah Valley University, and the Weenie Hut Junior Starcraft team were both 1-1 going on into this week. They were at the top of the challenger stage. But now, well, Riders of Brohan sitting at 1-1 after this. They're going to put themselves in the middle bracket. Now, again, from what we saw, Steadfast, I would not be surprised to see them make playoffs as a top billing out of this challenger format. But but the Weenie Hut Junior Starcraft team, well, they're showing that at least in best of fives, having that one ace player is absolutely a path to success.
Absolutely, 100%. And after this, we are going to get an interview with Full Heart here. We're going to talk about it, talk it out, hash it out. And yeah, we are going to see what makes them tick. In the meantime, why don't you tell me where the good folks can find you?
Well, that's such an interesting question, Steadfast. I can be found all over the place. But first and foremost, follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Bailmolf. I stream the ESL Open Cups on Mondays, and if I have the time, XM Cups on Wednesdays. But also follow me on Twitter at Bailmolf_SC2, unless it's the CEA, because apparently I just forget. I tweet when, where, how, and why I'm going live, because I go live on a bunch of different platforms. I actually just announced today I joined Alpha X as a caster for them. So I do a lot of stuff for them, twitch.tv/AlphaXSC2, a bunch of other stuff, a lot of YouTube content. I know you've been working with them to produce some YouTube content as well, but I'm all over the place. Follow me on Twitter. It's the easiest way. But how about you, Steadfast? Where can they find you?
Well, same thing. You can follow me, my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/SteadfastSC. Up until just today, Beowulf and I were brothers. Now we're sworn enemies. Of course, we were both a part of Team Exxon. Now, actually, I would say it's more like we're cousins now, if anything, you know. Alpha X and Exxon have a great working relationship together. A lot of overlap there. Two of the most prominent North American teams, I would say, in StarCraft 2 at this point. But yeah, so congratulations to you, by the way. I'm happy to see you moving forward with your casting career. But yeah, you can follow me at twitch.tv/steadfastsc. Actually, yeah, no, it's right below our names right there. Those are our wait. Yeah, other side. Yeah. Oh, no, other side. Yeah. Oh, further to your left. Your left. From your perspective, left. Oh, no, right, because it's mirrored.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
there
you go. Yeah. I was like, no, I can see you. It's on your left, bro. No. Yeah, it's stupid mirroring. It throws me off every time. Every time I try to straighten my hair, I'm literally doing it backwards, and it just throws me off. But getting back to it, you can follow me on Twitter. Same thing. That's where I usually announce when I'm going live. Twitter.com/steadfastsc2, because of course I wouldn't be enough for me to have all the same social media. It'd be nice, but just not the way it works. But also follow this channel here, twitch.tv/CEA_SC2. These guys are great. A lot of grassroots stuff that they do. It's been a really cool movement we've been a part of. I'm really happy to be a part of it. And hopefully we'll be looking forward to many seasons moving forward in the future. They've got the corporate side, Corporate Esports Association, and the Collegiate Esports Association. Really bringing a lot of teams, a lot of people together. It's very cool. So big shout out to them. Follow them on Twitter. I believe it's Corp Esports.
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, we can link it in the chat. But I'm going to put up a quick little break screen. We are going to go for the interview, and yeah, we will be right back. Beowulf, I know you're signing out for now, so have a wonderful afternoon, and, well, take it easy.
Catch y'all on the flip side. Stay safe.
All right, we are back. I am joined by the Weenie Hut Juniors, as we can see there. Full Heart, how you doing, my dude? And first things first, introduce yourself and tell us why Exxon's the best team ever.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of Exxon people in this, and it's great to see teams growing, a lot of NA players. So I'm Full Heart, and we just had a big win, and we're real excited about it.
Understandable, yeah, I would be too. That was a very, very razor's edge game. Both Game 4 and Game 5 were absolutely nuts, just like right down to the wire. So it's very cool to see that you guys were able to clutch it out. So this is your first season with the CEA, right? The first season doing the collegiate esports.
Yeah, we're his first season as a team. We played the solo one that was like a year and a half ago. That's Shopify sponsored.
Yes, yeah.
This is our first season as a team. Yeah.
Yeah, big thank you, by the way, to Shopify for sponsoring this as well. It's always appreciated. But yeah, tell us a little bit about how the team got formed, and I guess you guys are just a 3-person team for now, so it's a little bit obviously tighter. But yeah, just tell us about it.
Yeah, we'd love to have more people, but we don't. There's no one else here that really plays the game, so it's just us 3. But we saw the tournament was happening. I really wanted to do it, and they're both both ISO and Janitor Bob are my friends. So I asked them if they were in, and here we are, ready to play. Yeah.
Nice. And you guys are doing actually really well. This brings you what to 4-2 now? Is that
Yeah,
right?
so.
That's actually really, really impressive. With first of all a 3-player team at all. Like that's always just tricky organizing for times and whatnot. But second of all, with one player who is really just one player that's I mean, no, you guys were showing some pretty good games, but yeah, like it's you guys are definitely performing very, very well. Obviously, you know, I'm sure a lot of the weight falls on your shoulders, but I mean, Janitor Bob and Iswell won that very, very clutch game number 4. What was going through your mind while you were watching that?
Oh yeah, I'm super proud. They don't ladder super a lot, but I give them sometimes secret builds and stuff, and they can really pull some upsets. Janitor Bob has beaten Masters players before. He's Diamond too, so super proud, and they did really well today.
Yeah, that's got to be game of the week for sure. Well, I mean, honestly, both game 4 and game 5 would be candidates for game of the week. But yeah, that was an incredible upset in that 2v2.
Yeah.
So yeah, big ups to them. Muta's coming in super clutch. So you are from Utah Valley University, or sorry, no, you're from George Mason. What am I talking about? Goddamn. You're from George Mason. I've made it a bit of a tradition for the collegiate side to ask what's one kind of fun fact about the university that people might not know about.
Oh no, I don't know anything. We're the George Mason Patriots, and we've got a big statue of George Mason right in the center of campus. And if you step on the plaque that's in front of him, it's bad luck for all 4 years.
Oh, okay. So better not step on the plaque then. That's something. That's like that's a little like I guess mythos of the university. So that's kind of cool. So if you're ever in at George Mason, don't step on the plaque in the center of campus. You will have bad luck for the next 4 years. Even if you're not a student there, you're just gonna have bad luck for 4 years.
Oh yeah.
There we go. We're morphing the story now. It's broken telephone. So you had a kind of, I guess, tricky build in game number 4. Game number 3. Things didn't quite work out. It was the 2v2 kind of got a little bit messy. How do you kind of cope, I guess, with sometimes having a punch above your weight with a partner?
Yeah, I think it looked a lot like I ran a lot of that game, but I think I was actually a lot to blame for that. The Hydra Lurker just was not doing very well. I couldn't rotate around when I needed to, and the map was way too big to get the rotations right. I think I needed to go air there. I was just scared the Protoss might go Phoenix or something, and I'd be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, I think so we were talking about that. We saw the Mutalisks, the Spire anyways. And did you think they got scouted because they were like just like not even like 10 frames from being scouted. Like it was like a very, very close one, but I think they just didn't get scouted. Was that the was that the thought, or was it just like you kind of panicked and were like, oh no, it's gonna be Phoenix?
Yeah, I was more panicked. We didn't have any information what the Protoss was doing, and we only seen a couple of adepts. So I was just, all right, I'm not gonna risk it. If I show up with 5 Muta and he's got like 3 Phoenix sitting there, I'm just gonna lose the game. So I'll just take it safe.
Fair enough. It makes sense, and it was still a pretty close game. So you mentioned that that you were a part of Team Exxon, as well. I mentioned, I guess. What is it like being a part of a pro team while also going to university?
I haven't really thought that much about it. Right now, it's all COVID, so everything's online, and it's pretty much has been since I joined Team Exxon. So it hasn't affected me too much. But I don't know. I think being on a team is not too much of a commitment. But I think if you're high level in a game, you should definitely think about doing it. It gives you a community to work with, to support, and it's a really big deal. So I guess that's my take on it.
Yeah, I would agree. Team Exxon is pretty awesome. Being a part of it myself as well. Now you have as like a personal player, I know that you have kind of come up with some very like they're calling them in the chat the dark technologies builds, some very outside the box thinking. How have you kind of developed that? Like, has it just been like a lot of thinking about the game? Do you watch like pro replays, or is it just like, you know, you just kind of figure it out as you go along?
Yeah, I try to be tricky. I've had a couple of really sneaky ideas, you know, proxying buildings with the Overlord creep, or using drop lords to defend Niduses. I like doing stuff like that a lot. I don't know. I try to think outside. Try to like what's no one doing. It's not like rough style, or I don't think I'm super unorthodox, but I don't know. I like theory crafting this game. It's fun.
Yeah, there's so much you can do, and there's a lot that you can do to surprise your opponent. I like the concept, especially of what you're talking about with the like a dropper lord plus Nidus to like get like 4 roaches into the main base and force the Nidus to finish up. That's something that doesn't get thought about, but it's like a really adds a big layer to it. So that's cool to kind of get a little bit of an idea of what goes on through your head, because you're definitely a very clever player who's taken down some really top level players I know in tournament settings. Now, what is the plan, I guess, for the team, and I guess, and then as on a personal level, your career moving forward in StarCraft 2?
I'm not so big picture like that. I don't know. We're playing this for fun. We're hoping to get some wins, have some fun games, and so far we've been having a ton of fun with this tournament. And so yeah, we're hoping to make a good run in playoffs. Hopefully, I don't know if there's a set goal in mind, but we're just hoping to just have some good games.
Nice. Well, fair enough. I like some of your notes you've got here in the Google Drive document. So did you really use a trackpad for the first 3 years of your StarCraft career?
Oh, of course, man. I was just
That is that is some true passion and love for the game, because to be able to put yourself through that kind of torture just to play, that's next level. And then we've got Janitor Bob. Tell us about one of his proudest accomplishments.
Oh yeah. So this guy's crazy. All right. So it's 8 a.m. right? He's just chilling, you know, nothing to do, right? And he opens the fridge, sitting there, gallon of peanut butter. I don't know how it got there. I don't know what he's thinking, but he's like, you know what? That needs to go. And what's the only way to get rid of a gallon of peanut butter? That's right, man. Crack the lid, start chomping down, and by the end of the next day, that peanut butter was gone. That was the only thing he ate 2 days.
Oh my god, that sounds so horrifying for your digestive system. But I mean, I guess when you're a little bit younger, you're in university, you can kind of pull off some of those crazier things. That is quite the accomplishment. And well, I guess that's fun little interview. Before I let you go, is there anywhere the good people can find you, check you out? Anywhere they can check out the team? Anyone you want to shout out? Now's your time.
Yeah, sure. Of course, big shout out to Steadfast here. Amazing caster. He runs so many events. Go check him out, guys, if you haven't. Team Exxon on Twitter. It's team_Exxon's also awesome. My Twitter's at fullheart2sc. I don't really tweet much though, so yeah, if you want to find me, that's where you can. Big shout out, obviously, Weenie Hut Juniors, big financial supporters of the team. We're really excited to have them. They've been with us not too long, but we're really excited to have help from them. And then CEA, they're doing more games tonight, right?
I think they are doing other games. Yeah, I think they're doing. Oh, I actually I don't remember which ones are next, but I know that they do like stuff sequentially now. So yeah, they'll be doing like maybe Rocket League, or possibly League of Legends, Valorant. I know that they're doing like they cover like 7 different games. Like they've got like chess, Valorant, League, Overwatch. Yeah, they got a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, so if you are, into that, and you're like, oh, StarCraft 2 is too hard, but you may want to take a look at your university, see if you could join one of the other teams. Because even with Collegiate, I know that they're starting to get into a few other games, so yeah. But that has, that's going to, I guess, wrap things up for my end, very awkward interview. Getting a little bit tired here. This has been Exxon's Full Heart, and thank you very much for joining me. And have a wonderful afternoon.
All right, you too. See ya.
Awesome. Once again, that was Full Hearts from Exxon and George Mason University's Weenie Hut Juniors StarCraft team. And this has been me from everyone at the CEA. Have a wonderful afternoon, wonderful evening. Stay safe out there. For me personally, I will be casting the ESL Open Cup Korea, the one taking place on the Korea server in, what time is it right now? It's almost 7 o'clock, in just over 4 hours. So it's going to be starting at 11 p.m. EST. That's 8 p.m. PST, something Korea time. But either way, you can check me out doing that on the twitch.tv/steadfastsc. Make sure to follow this channel right here, twitch.tv/CEA_SC2. Give them a follow on Twitter. And yeah, thank you very much for tuning in. From myself, Beowulf, and the whole CEA crew, have yourself a wonderful evening.